Before you search for train times or book a ticket in France, there is one thing you should check first. Is there actually a railway line between the places you want to visit? This interactive map shows the passenger rail network across France, displaying the active lines and stations travelers can use. Once you know a route exists, we'll see how to check the available trains, departure times, and prices. Let's first look at how the map works and what information it gives you. Click the link in the description and you'll arrive on this page, on our France travel guide website, culturefrancia.com. Since we're on desktop, let's switch to full screen by clicking here in the top right corner. But you can also use it on your mobile phone. There are two line colors. The red lines are high-speed lines and the orange ones are regular lines. And all the dots represent train stations. This map is specifically designed for passenger travel. Train lines that are only used for freight transportation have been intentionally removed. And lines that are no longer in service have also been removed. The same applies to the stations. You can switch the background to satellite if you prefer, and you can also hide the map legend. Let's look at an example on the French Riviera. Let's say you're staying in Antibes and you want to go to Grasse. Before checking whether trains are available on the day of your trip, the first thing you need to know is whether there is a rail line between Antibes and Grasse. As you can see, there is a train line connecting the two cities, with the station in Antibes and another one in Grasse. So there may be a train available on the day you want to travel from Antibes to Grasse. We'll see how to check that later in the video. Now let's take another example. You're still staying in Antibes, but this time you want to go to Saint-Tropez. As you can see, there is no line going to Saint-Tropez. The town isn't served by train, so you won't be able to travel from Antibes to Saint-Tropez by train. You'll need to find another way to get there. Now let's imagine you're traveling in the Loire Valley. You're staying in Amboise, for example, and you want to visit the Château de Blois. Is there a railway line connecting Amboise and Blois? Here you can see that there is. There is a line between the two places, with the station in Amboise and another one in Blois. So you can check which trains are available on the day of your trip and see the different departure times. But let's say you're in Amboise and you want to visit the Château de Chambord. You can see that Chambord isn't served by a railway line, so you cannot travel directly to Chambord by train. You'll need to find another solution. At best, you could take the train from Amboise to Blois and then use another form of transportation for the rest of the route. The map also shows you whether the train station is located in relation to the city center. For example, in Amboise, you can see that the station is close to the old town, and in Blois, the station is right next to the old town. The map tells you whether a rail line exists, but it doesn't tell you whether the journey is direct. There may be a railway line between two places, but you might still need to change trains somewhere along the way. To find out, you'll need to search for the actual journey. The search results will tell you whether the train is direct or whether there is a connection and where you'll need to switch trains. We'll look at how to check that in a moment. This map works for every region in France. Zoom in on the area where you'll be traveling, then check whether there are lines between where you are and where you want to go. Once you know that a line exists, you can check the actual train availability that we'll see in a moment. But there is just one exception, the Paris region. This map isn't the best option for the Paris region because it only shows train lines. It doesn't show the metro or tram network. In that case, go back to the previous page. Here you'll see a map specifically for Paris and the surrounding region. Click on it. This is simply Google Maps with the transit layer activated. You can show or hide it by going to the bottom left corner and click on the transit layer. This includes suburban trains, regional trains, metros and trams, lines and stations for each. What it doesn't show here are regular buses and night buses. This map is useful when you want to travel between Paris and another place outside the city, but still within the Paris region. You can also use it to travel between two places located elsewhere within the Paris region. For everywhere else in France, use our interactive France train map. Let's go back to the example of traveling between Antibes and Grasse. Now that you know there is a rail line, you need to check whether trains are running on the day of your trip. You'll also want to see the departure times and prices. For that, go to the official SNCF website, which is the official French railway website. You should arrive on this page, sncfconnect.com. If you need to change the language, scroll all the way to the bottom. You can select a different language here. Now click on Trains. Enter Antibes as your departure point and Grasse as your destination. You can select either the station or the city. In this case, it works the same way. Next, choose your travel date. For this example, let's use Tuesday, September 15. You'll also need to adjust the time. You can set it to early in the morning so you can see the option available during the day. We won't add a return journey because this is just an example. Select the number of passengers, then launch the search. You can now see all the available departure times for that day, along with the duration, whether each train is direct or requires a connection, and the prices. Choose the train you want, click on it, and continue to the booking page. Then follow the remaining steps until your reservation is confirmed. For long-distance journeys, it's really important to book in advance. For short trips between nearby cities, like Antibes to Grasse, it's usually not necessary. In these cases, you can simply go to the station, buy your ticket there, and board the train. But even when you don't need to book in advance, the SNCF Connect website is still useful. It allows you to see which trains are running on your chosen date, approximately how many trains there are, their departure times, and the prices. You can also open the interactive map on your phone. For schedules and reservations, SNCF Connect also has a mobile app with the same name. You can use it to check train times and book your tickets. You can also use other platforms that aren't the official SNCF website. One example is Trainline. Trainline isn't limited to France, and you can use it to search for routes and potentially book tickets. You can also use Omio or Rome to Rio. Personally, I recommend using the official SNCF website, but the other three options I mentioned can also be useful. When you only want to check a route or timetable, you can also use Google Maps. You won't be able to book your train there, but you can look at the route. Click on Directions, select Transit. For example, enter Antibes as your starting point and Grasse as your destination. Choose the day you want to travel. For this example, we said Tuesday, September 15. You'll also need to adjust the time. You can set it to early in the morning so you can see the option available during the day. Google Maps will then show you the train times and the route for the journey. Again, you cannot make a reservation here. This is only for checking the route and timetable. The final part is about night trains. Everything we have looked at so far has been for journeys during the day. To view night train routes, turn off all the current layers, then activate the two night train layers, one for the lines and one for the stations. You can now see the night trains operating within France along with the station they serve. This map only covers journeys inside France. There are also international night trains connecting France with neighboring countries, but those aren't included here. The principle is exactly the same as with the daytime train map. When you want to switch back to the daytime map, simply refresh the page. culturefrancia.com